Hello, everyone. Today, I want to get kind of deep and share more of my backstory and kind of where I'm at right now. My name's Thomas Malpass, if none of you know, and I guess I want to just share the real me and the real story of how I ended up here. So, yeah, I'm Thomas Malpass. I'm a Navy veteran, a college graduate, business degree. I don't really see that as some sort of like, oh, congratulations. It's cool and all, but I'm not a huge believer in academics, to be honest. But, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my naval career. And yes, I'm currently unemployed. I do small gigs. I work part-time sometimes, doing deliveries, Instacart here and there, DoorDash, and yeah, that's where I'm at right now, honestly. Meanwhile, I'm here starting a podcast, which I'm super grateful for. And if you're wondering how I make a living being unemployed, I also have pretty much like a severance check from the Navy, being a disabled veteran for many years in the Navy. And they support me. That's how I make a living right now. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know if I'd be able to make it. Because, like I said, I'm also a single father. And I don't know, it's just hard. It's hard working a job. It's not that I can't get a job, I guess. Like, I could work full time if I had to, but I choose to stay unemployed and work part-time gigs because I do still make enough to survive and support my family. I'm just not fully, I'm not wealthy, I guess. And I'm not sure where life will take me, but I am doing this and I'm sharing my personal story to hopefully inspire somebody that it's okay to not necessarily know exactly where you're going in life, and you'll get through it. You'll get through anything. So yeah, to share more of my personal story and how I ended up here. Long story short, when I was in the Navy, I first joined, I was in for about 8.5, 9 years. And I always told myself going in, like, I don't want to be in a relationship. I don't want to be in a military couple or a spouse of a military person, because they really are hard. They don't really last, statistically speaking, and they didn't last. It didn't last for me. But yeah, I was in for about 3.5, 4 years when I met my soon-to-be ex. We're separated, wife, and it was just young love, young lust, and we ended up having twins, which I'm forever grateful for. Kids are like literally like juice of life. They teach you so much. It's very hard, but it's all worth it to see something that you literally created. And we had kids, and a couple years later, I think they were about 2 years old, and we were both still in the Navy, and then she had just gotten out and I was still in, and she cheated on me. It was infidelity, and I was the stupid one at that time and just decided to stay with her and brush it off because I believe in traditional values and sticking it through no matter what. But that was naive and it continued to happen, and that's kind of where we're at now. And through that, I don't want to speak too much about my ex because I just don't like talking like about people, gossiping about people. But long story short, she went through I guess alcoholism, addiction problems, and we finally just decided to separate. We also still support each other financially to help raise our children, but that's how I'm basically a single father now, with some help from her as well financially. So now my what should I talk about? I guess my college degree, I was getting that while I was in the Navy, paid for it, which is why I'm super grateful for anyone deciding to join the military. Honestly, it's not for everyone. That's why I got out. But they have so many benefits that last, even if you're smart enough to apply for them and do what you have to do to take care of yourself after you get out. Do it just for one term. Serve your country if that's what you're about, and apply for as many benefits as possible, so when you're somewhat stable when you get out. You're not going to be super abundant or whatever, but they help pay for school, and that's how I got my business degree from Columbia College of Missouri. It was all online. I had some classes in person, but it was mainly self-paced, all online, and I got that. And after I got that, I thought I wanted to be a corporate executive or go into the corporate world. But honestly, I just started working these part-time jobs, and I did apply for jobs that were in the business field, and I just found that I just didn't want to be in the corporate climb the corporate ladder or do something like that. I wanted to do something that's more fulfilling, that I feel more passionate about, even if it's something that doesn't pay that great. Like I was working at GNC for a year, the nutrition store, because I love fitness and I love taking care of my health and fitness. So I worked there for about a year, and then the only reason I quit is because me and my boss just didn't click. We just did not click, and he would always schedule me on days that I told him I couldn't work. He would schedule me those days, and it's just the communication wasn't there. But if I could, I would go back and work at GNC. And then after that, so I didn't really use my degree. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Unless you're like a doctor, or unless you're truly passionate about something, go ahead and get your degree in whatever you want to pursue. To me, it's just another accolade or another tick off the box. And currently I'm going through film school, which is also paid again from the military. And because it's something I'm passionate about, creating content, telling stories. I love doing this stuff, and in the hopes of, I guess, hopes of inspiring people. I want to connect with people on a deeper level. I want to create community and encourage people to follow what they think they really want to do, because you may not know exactly what you want to do. You have to try things out, like I tried things out, And yeah, and my Navy career, so after that whole relationship and the Navy career, I was still in, and I wasn't going on deployments anymore because I was on my shore term. Because in the Navy, you do a sea term and a shore term, which basically means when on your sea term, you're on a boat, you go out to sea for months on end. I probably have at least a year to 2 years of just out to sea time, just floating around the ocean, doing my job. And then shore duty, I was in for about 3.5 years as well. So I was in sea duty for about 4.5, 5 years, and then shore duty for on land, working in a building for 3.5, 4 years. And during this time, I started to try to work on myself. I started to read books, try to learn about investing. And because me and my ex had gotten into so much debt that it was just basically crippling debt. And it's hard to get out of unless you make a lot of, unless you make a higher income. It's hard to pay off the minimum amount every month. Like you could pay the minimum amount, but that's going to take years on end, which is why it's crippling. But unless you increase your income, which I'm trying to do through content creation, but that's why I'm forced to get part-time jobs, work part-time gigs while I'm doing this and trying to support my family. Because I believe in balance. I believe like you could work a full-time job and squeeze in a couple hours of your passion, or you could work a part-time job and still survive. You may not be super abundant and be able to go on trips every month or week. Testing. Okay, we're back. I was talking for like 10 minutes straight and my audio had completely cut off. Oh man, gotta love creating content. Where was I at? I was at, you could have a part-time job and still survive. You may not be super abundant and be able to go on. Okay. So yeah, sometimes you have to just put your head down and do the work. But yeah, so this podcast, this story, I wanted to talk about basically the last 10 years of my life, because I'm about to be 20, or I'm about to be 30, and I'm talking about from when I was 20 to 30. So long story short, I had joined when I was 18. I told myself I didn't want to date, but I ended up dating when I was around 21, 22. Had twin daughters at the age of 24. Went through a horrible toxic relationship from like 24 to 27. I mean, I still have to deal with it because it's my baby mama. And then I don't think I talked about the Navy yet. I mean, I did, but it got cut out. So my time in the Navy. So I had done 4 years or 5 years in sea duty, which basically you're out to sea all the time. You're going on underways. You're going on deployments. You don't see much of land. And the leadership varies. The leadership in the military is one where you just have to do what you're told, right? You have a rank for a reason, and if you disobey a lawful order, which is in the UCMJ code, which is the basically justice law book of the military, if you disobey a lawful order, which could be anything that your superior tells you, to the certain extent that it's valid and not just like somebody demeaning you, and you have to obey it. And if you don't, you can go to the brig, you can go to captain's mast, which is basically where they determine if you go to the brig or not for disobeying a lawful order. And from my experience in the Navy, I've seen a lot of people, like, you could be young, you could be in the Navy for about 6-7 years. So let's say you join at 18, we're in for 6 years, and you could be a chief already, which is like pretty much the highest, close to the highest enlisted rank. And you have young folks that get power hungry and also just like to tell you what to do. And I've seen that. I've seen people lose control of their power. I've seen people change when they advance in a rank and they just want to boss people around. And then I've also seen the opposite of that. I've seen very good leaders that you do all the work, you're done, that needs to be done for the day, and you're off. You could be off by noon. Start work at 8, work for 4 hours straight, get off, and you're good for the day. And then you have another leader where you do the same thing, and then they have you doing busy work for 5 hours where you could have been doing something else. So that's the difference with the leadership in the military. And then you also have this weird nothing against Freemasons, but you have these weird they're not weird, but just it's sus. That's the best. Like, you have people join Freemasons. It's like this whole clique of people around the world, and then they're everywhere, and they're on the boats, they're in the military, and the next thing you know, they're advancing like kind of faster than normal. Sorry, that's my cat. But yeah, so that's kind of sus. Nothing against Freemasons. I love them. I had friends that were that. I just don't know too much about them. So after that, I went to shore duty, which is basically after you're done going on deployments and out to sea all the time, you work on shore duty, basically in a building, like any office job. And yeah, that's when I started to really work on myself. I started to read. I started to meditate. I started to learn about business and finances because I was in debt. And I mean, I'm still in debt. And my ex still supports us financially and the kids. But yeah, like, I wanted to just learn how to make more money. And I basically came to the conclusion that you can chase money all your life, and it is good to have enough stable income where you can do stuff that you want to do. But I believe there's a limit to that. Like, you could have enough, like, I don't know, any superficial number that you want to think of, that's the number for you. And that's it. You'll be fine with that. You don't have to keep chasing it and have millions and millions unless you want to change the world like Elon Musk or something. That's what I came to the conclusion is what's more important is my own happiness and fulfillment and doing stuff I'm passionate about. And that kind of deters, it's kind of a double-edged sword because it deters you from working like jobs necessarily that could get you, like, any type of job that you may hate, but it's stable enough to make you a living for you. Like, it deters you from that. But if you really want to do something, you'll make time for it. So you could work a full-time job. I'm grateful enough and lucky enough to only be able to work part-time and also work on stuff like this and create content that I'm passionate about and have a podcast that I'm passionate about that I hopefully want to build to superficial numbers that really don't matter. But it's things like this, like, just, I think that's what really matters in life, is doing stuff that you find really, just doing more things that you're, I guess, more passionate about, but also have a purpose behind it, and also have this feeling of contentness as well, where you have stability, you seek growth, and you seek purpose, but you're also passionate about. I know it sounds like a lot, but I think every human being deserves this. Something that they can do for maybe for work, that they're also passionate about. They also know themselves and have purpose in everything they're doing, but they're at the same time, they're also just content and at peace with life and content with who they are, like deep down to the core. I think that's like the juice of life. It's not necessarily, you could chase money all your life if you want and have this legacy. Like I love that. I'd love to have a legacy as well for my kids, but I think that there's a threshold to that. That's what I think. I think you reach a limit and you don't have to keep going. Like, are you going to keep going until you're 100 years old? Like, even if you're healthy and you could do it, like, I think there's a threshold to it. And I think there's a limit to this chasing success, quote unquote, thing. And I'm a big proponent in just doing what you love and hopefully maybe one day you'll get some success out of it, but doing it anyways because you just love to do it. And who knows what will happen. That's what I believe in. But anyways, yeah, where am I now? Like, so I got out, did the shore duty, was trying to work on myself, reading a lot. And then I got out, I got a job at Kava. Mad respect to the people at Kava and work fast food places. And basically I was cutting food, prepping food, doing all the things. I felt like I was on Hell's Kitchen. That was like what I always tell people. Worked there for 2 months, quit, and then I worked at GNC for a year. When I worked at GNC for a year, I loved it. Like, I love fitness, I love health. I believe in supplements to supplement your healthy diet and healthy lifestyle. But I quit because me and my boss just didn't click. Like, he would schedule me on days I told him I couldn't. He had OCD. Like, I would move one thing an inch away. Oh, why'd you move? Like, stuff like that. It's just like little stuff. We just didn't click, but I loved the job and it paid decently. Like, it paid about $20 an hour. If you add commissions, it was $16 plus 20 or plus commissions, which averaged out about $20 an hour. And I was working there about 30 hours a week. And I quit, got my real estate license, did real estate for about a year, doing open houses. I was doing open houses for 7 months straight. And this was in 2023. So last year, it was the worst year to get into real estate out here in Austin, unless you were already established. The market was horrible. I had a couple of leads that almost went through, but they just didn't go through, and it just started to get expensive. You pay around 3 to 5K a year just to keep your license and just to keep relevancy in the market, and I couldn't keep up with that. And that's when I decided to start this podcast and do something that I really enjoy doing. Like, I loved real estate and I understood it, and I love the networking that it kind of forces you to do. As somebody that's introverted, it kind of forces you to do this. I love that aspect, but the actual work I didn't like. Which is, it's nothing wrong with not like liking your work that you're doing, but to me, that's something that's very important. And when I started podcasting, it's always been in the back of my mind. I listen to podcasts all the time, commutes, while I'm working out, and I decided to just do it because I want to create something that will stand the test of time. And this is my version of my legacy. Even though it may not make a lot of money, it's serving my purpose and trying to help inspire people to do what they love to do, even if it may not make you a lot of money. in the meantime. But yeah, just inspiring people to live a life of more purpose, more passion, and more peace. And that's why I started doing it. And I can do it forever because it's something where, yes, it requires work. Like, this is only one aspect of it. Then I have to go back, edit it, make clips of it, post it all on every social media that I have. Um, and it's just a part of the creator process. And it's work, but it's work that I love to do. And that's my point here is I'll be 30 in September. And I guess 30 is a big, it's a big pivotal moment, and hopefully many more years to come. But I wanted to create this as a sort of a reflection to also the future me, when I could look back on this in 10 years from now and hopefully achieved goals that I wanted to achieve and set out to do what I wanted to achieve, but also to hopefully inspire people that I'm just a normal dude too, just trying to do what I love to do and survive out here. It's America is, I don't even want to talk about politics, but America it's a scary place to live in right now, but also it's a land of opportunity and a land where you get enough freedom to be able to do what you want to do, because not every country is like that. Not every country allows you to just do stuff like this, and I'm super grateful. And I just hope that anyone that listens to this takes something out of it. This is my story from the last 10 years. And yeah, I wish you, whoever is listening, I wish you the best in whatever you're doing. And I hope this gave you some insights to somebody who's about to be 30. I'm 29 right now, that has an outlook for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years of your life and deciding what you want to do. And I hope you can live a life that's more contented, but also one of ambition, one of peace, purpose, and passion, and a passionate life, because that's the motto of my podcast, but something I truly believe in. And yeah, with love, compassion, respect, hopefully this reaches somebody that will appreciate it. So yeah, if you want to support me, subscribe if you want. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.